with this. Of course, at the most recent Academy Awards, history was made as the first time ever that a comic book movie won the Academy Award for Best Lead Actor. Now that, of course, was Joaquin Phoenix winning the award for Joker. Joker was a smash-out success. Despite all the complaints that people had when it was first announced, oh, it'll never work without Batman being in it and blah, 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 blah. This movie, and if it's not connected to the DCU, what's the point? And blah, blah. Anyway, the movie was a smash hit, made over $1 billion at the box office, and was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. And of course, as we mentioned, Joaquin Phoenix won for Best Lead Actor playing the title role. The question has come up a bit, though, lately about whether or not and if they are going to do a sequel to The Joker. Now, there are many people, myself included, and I'm sure probably most of you, that feel like a sequel to The Joker is inevitable. After all, we just mentioned the fact that the first film made over $1 billion. In most cases, that settles the argument. The discussion is done. No more discussion needed. It made over $1 billion. You're going to do another one. And that is probably most likely the case. However, there are also some people like myself that believe and hope they don't do another one. I mean, this movie, it's not just that this movie was great. Lots of movies are great and you can do sequels, but there are some people like myself that feel like another movie will actually kind of undermine what they did and what they accomplished in that first movie when you look at the nature of the film and what it was. Because if you do a sequel, you're just going to spin in traditional comic book territory. Everything else has already been done. So, and that's would kind of undermine the brilliance of the first one, but whatever. One of the people who attended the Academy Awards when Joker won and got all of its glory was, of course, one of the stars of the film, Zazie Beetz. And Zazie Beetz has come out, and during an interview, I believe it was with MTV, she actually kind of expressed she doesn't believe they should do another one. Understanding that they probably will, but she doesn't really think they should do another one. She said the following. She says, I don't know if it needs one. Talking about Joker having possibly a sequel. I don't know if it needs one. I think there's a lot of strength in not milking something. Honestly, I feel like Todd Phillips, of course, who directed it, would be the person to do that tastefully. I think if he felt that it needed one, I really trust him. He's really creative and smart for sure. So she's not coming out and lambasting any notion. She's not trash talking the idea of Warner Brothers doing another one because it would make a lot of sense. But I think a lot of people will kind of identify with what her position was. This was a movie that not only doesn't need a sequel, it would almost be counterproductive to it. But again, at the same time, I understand the business of it, so they'll probably do it, and I can completely understand why. Rob, you hear the comments of somebody like Zazie Beetz saying she doesn't feel that this movie needs one, but at the same time, the film made over $1 billion, so what are you going to do? What are your thoughts on her comments, and what would you do?
Well, I think the obvious answer is not to do necessarily a sequel artistically. Financially, I think it demands a sequel. You know, the movie, for its budget and how much it ended up making worldwide, it's probably one of the most profitable films in Warner Brothers history. But in order for it to continue that kind of profitability, you would have to carry on that story in a way that all the fans and the people that turned out for the first one would accept and believe. So if they turned it into standard comic book fare, I think that would be counterproductive. However, if they went into some really interesting, like the idea, the seeds of revolution were planted at the end of that film. And if it could be some combination of, I don't know, Fight Club meets Red Dawn, you know, I don't know, but something unexpected, something that was as unique and genre bending as the first film was. But it has to be grounded. It has to still speak to, whether it's addressing issues of mental health and whether it's addressing issues of inequity, of healthcare and the rich versus the poor. And all of those are ripe to be mined. Those issues they're so of today. And I think, John, look, it's going to take some deft screenwriting on someone's part, let me tell you. But I think if somebody really put their minds to it, and I think Todd Phillips, he wouldn't just come back and do something if he didn't believe. I mean, maybe not, dangling enough cash. But I think he knows that why the first movie, nobody expected that kind of success. But it really was a zeitgeist film. And if they come up with something that's equally sort of now and connects with people on way beyond what I think a traditional comic book movie does. And it deals with those issues, those tough issues of today that people are dealing with in their real lives. They could come up with something pretty interesting.
It's going to be difficult, though, without just making Joaquin.
I know.
Where we end off with Joaquin as Joker in that movie, like we were looking at the doorway moment, right? Where he transitions from Arthur truly into being Joker. And my fear is that it just becomes another run-of-the-mill comic book movie at that point. So you're right. It would take a lot. It would take some very, very skilled screenplay writing. Question is, guys, how do you feel about that? Do you agree with Zazie Beetz? This is a movie that does not need another one? Or are you kind of going with the business people going, are you kidding me? You have to do another one. Of course you do. And you're looking forward to it. Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.